some college football player will get the Heisman Trophy. In the meantime, they're not supposed to think about it, talk about it, or even acknowledge its existence. That's what we're here for. But in September, picking candidates is kind of like picking stocks, a very inexact science.
In a market in turmoil, with very few proven commodities, a true blue chipper may be the soundest play. So Peyton Manning's stock may have dropped after getting swamped by Florida's swarming blitzes, but it didn't plummet.
He played well against Florida. Florida doesn't lose at home. I mean, he went in there and played a good game. Sure, he was intercepted and returned for a touchdown. Those things happen.
After 3 games, Manning's efficiency rating is only 27th best, but his yards and touchdowns are well ahead of Danny Wuerffel's pace. Heisman shareholders can forgive a pair of picks in Gainesville if Manning responds the same way he did after last season's loss to Florida, with 2 near-perfect games and then a win over Bama. But another loss to the likes of Memphis would throw open the competition.
He passes the ball more than the basketball team does. He's unbelievable.
The numbers of Kentucky's Tim Couch are off the chart, 15 touchdowns in 3 games. But his sophomore status is a liability, and now it's his turn to face Florida's rush, with Alabama after that. Iowa's Tavian Banks has more yards after 3 games than any 2,000-yard rusher except Marcus Allen. Strong performance in the season's second quarter, October visits to Ohio State and Michigan, would send Banks' stock soaring. Some voters love Charles Woodsen's versatility. The Michigan's triple threat also needs more visibility, touchdowns, receiving, and returning punts to strengthen support.
Having a player from Marshall is like having a guy who's running for president from Montana. It can happen, but it's unlikely.
Another wild card, Marshall's Randy Moss, on early pace to break the 1A touchdown record. His weekly highlights are beamed via satellite, and he has his own website. But this year, it's Moss's turn to face questions about level of competition. And the stock will continue to rise for preseason long shots Ryan Leaf of Washington State and Auburn's Damian Craig, as long as their teams keep winning.
As for how today might affect the race, well, Couch will either become buried by Florida or much more legit in the minds of many voters. And I think Charles Woodsen has the best chance today to be a playmaker in a showcase game against the Irish. If he can make something happen as a punt returner or an offensive player, he's going to get less touches than most of the candidates. He has to compensate with memorable moments. Tony, what about a guy in your mind who's snuck into the race lately?
Well, obviously, look, I still like Manning, but I think another guy in the SEC deserves a look. Damian Craig was brilliant last week in LSU. I mean, he threw for 342 yards, 2 touchdowns, but more important, he led his team down the field 80 yards and won the game in the final minutes. Look, this guy can make all the plays. He's thrown 76 straight balls without an interception. His interception ratio is the 3rd best in SEC history. Mark it down, guys. October 18th, this guy puts a scare into Florida. He's the real deal.
You know, Tony, I look at this situation right now, and I think it's still a little bit too early. I agree with you with Peyton Manning right now. He's clearly up front. But after that, there's just a bunch of potential candidates. I still think we're reaching for guys. I think in the next couple weeks, players step up and have some performances in big games. That's the key, to do it when everybody's watching on national TV. You go back through the years, 94 Rashaan Salam against Texas, Eddie George in 95 against Illinois. I think that we're going to see a similar case again this year, 1997.
Kirk, if you guys want to find out who's the Heisman Trophy winner, just go back to the end of the season, look at the top teams, and check the stars. Why? In 1990s, each of the Heisman winners have played on a team that's lost 0 or 1 game. The people go with the winners. I think Peyton Manning won the Heisman last week in Gainesville for the better reason of all, courage and a great effort in a loss, more than 5 touchdowns against some cupcake. I think he goes right to New York, picks up the trophy. It's his.
Well, by that logic, you're saying Tennessee's going to run the table.
I would think so.
Lee. I know you carry a huge portion of swing votes in the Heisman, but it's never won in September. How many times do we have to tell you that?
See?
The school that's produced a record 7 Heisman Trophy winners, Notre Dame, takes on Michigan, which has 2. The program with the all-time best winning percentage against the program with the most all-time wins.